Oh my God, that show.
It was walking through your spam filter. The famous Jurassic Park line.
We never stop to ask ourselves if we should.
Where are we going with this? Because listen, paired up with AI on one corner and robots on the other, I'm thinking those two need a hallway in between, because if not, we're going to get amalgamation and boom, there's Terminator.
I was about to say, this is how Skynet happened.
Be careful what you wish for.
It's only the first show of the year, and I've already got AI and Skynet.
AI, artificial intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence.
For 5 minutes. Could you not be yourself? For 5 minutes!
Okay, AI.
Dave Labuskes announces his retirement, new guidelines for UC integration, and AI from CES to the classroom. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 751, recorded Friday, January 9th, 2026. The weakest link. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest stories and news in the AV and the IT world. We have some UC updates, a retirement announcement, and some awards. Let's get into it. AVIXA CEO Dave Labuskes has announced his retirement, marking the end of a notable chapter for the global AV industry. Labuskes has served as CEO of AVIXA since 2013, overseeing a branding remake from Infocom to AVIXA, a significant transformation for the organization. Also during his tenure, AVIXA expanded its global footprint, evolved Infocom into a more internationally unified brand, and leaned heavily into education, certification, and standards development as AV continued its convergence with IT. Labuskes emphasized collaboration across manufacturers, integrators, and end users as a core focus of his leadership. No successor has been announced yet, and AVIXA's board has indicated that a transition plan is underway. The announcement closes a long-running leadership era for one of the most influential organizations in professional audiovisual. We'll cover more of this story with our panelists. A continuation of a story that broke right before the holidays, Exertis UK has confirmed it is putting its AV distribution business up for sale as part of a broader strategic review. The move comes as parent company Exertis continues to evaluate how its portfolio aligns with long-term growth objectives. The AV division has been a key player in the UK market, supplying products across a professional AV, unified communications, and collaboration technologies. Exertis says the decision is intended to allow greater focus on core business areas while ensuring the AV unit finds an owner positioned to invest and grow the operation. Industry observers will be watching closely as this could signal further consolidation within AV distribution, particularly as margins tighten and vendor relationships continue to evolve in a more IT-centric buying environment. Axis Communications has announced an expanded push into unified communication systems, reinforcing its strategy beyond the traditional security and surveillance markets. Axis is positioning its networked audio, video, and analytics technologies as core building blocks for modern collaboration environments. The company highlighted growing demand for high-quality IP-based video and audio solutions that integrate into enterprise communication platforms. Axis sees increasing overlap between physical security infrastructure and collaboration systems, particularly in enterprise, education, and public sector environments. This move reflects a broader industry trend where manufacturers known for one category are extending into adjacent AV and IT ecosystems. This is driven by IP convergence and software-defined workflows. Speaking of UC, AV Network has released a new integration guide focused on unified communications and collaboration. The guide examines how UC platforms, network infrastructure, room systems, and user expectations intersect in real-world installations. The publication looks at challenges such as interoperability, scalability, and long-term support as organizations standardize on collaboration platforms while maintaining flexibility for future growth. It also highlights how integrators are adjusting service models to support cloud-based UC ecosystems. And finally, SCN has released its annual Hall of Fame issue, recognizing individuals who have made lasting contributions to the professional AV industry. The issue highlights leaders across manufacturing, integration, education, and consulting whose work has helped shape the industry's direction. The list includes Don Caglio of IVCI, John Minnick from Bogan Communications, Dave Labuskes, who of course just announced his retirement from AVIXA, and Dr. Josiah Way of UCLA and HETMA. Hall of Fame serves as both a recognition of individual achievement and a snapshot of how the industry has evolved over decades. The honorees reflect the broad range of expertise that continues to drive the professional AV forward. A full issue is now available, and you can check it out at avnetwork.com. That is your AV news. Stick around for this week's Roundtable, where we will look at the impact of Mr. Labuskes' tenure, as well as where AI will impact AV this year. This is AV Week.
Hey listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
All right, welcome back. With us to discuss the rest of the news and information we have got this week, Rebecca Sullins. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me.
A young man that I got to hang out with in Vegas at CES this week, Mr. Chris Neto. Welcome, sir.
Hello, I'm Chris Neto, and you're not.
That's exactly true, yes. And last but not least, a young man that I've got to know through his own podcast, and we'll see him at ISE, Daniel Centellas from Lang AV. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Tim. That's correct. You pronounced my name exactly as it sounds.
I ask people, and sometimes I write them down phonetically correctly. So every once in a while, you know. I mean, Neto is pretty easy. Although my Siri wants to call him Neto for some reason. Like when I say call Chris Neto, it says call Chris Neto.
So did everybody from elementary school to high school. Every time that I had to win an award or do some sort of graduation thing, it was always had to phonetically spell it.
Yeah.
Neto is funnier.
Neto is much funnier.
Anywho. All right. First story, we covered this in the newscast at the top. Mr. Dave Labuskes has announced his retirement as CEO of AVIXA. Now, this covers 13 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. A couple things that Dave oversaw, the rebranding from Infocom, because if you haven't been in the industry long enough to remember, AVIXA used to be called Infocom, just like the show. Before that, it was ICIA. So they, late 2010s, rebranded from Infocom to AVIXA, the Audiovisual Experience Association, also expanded education certification programs, expanded the global reach of the overall industry, but also, of course, of AVIXA itself. Mr. Neto, we're going to open this up with a very simple question to all three of you, really. What is Dave Labuskes' legacy at the end of this year when he retires?
So I thought about this since you gave this kind of question ahead of time and said, "Hey, man, what would you think?" And you know, I know Mr. Labuskes. I've hung out with him. I've actually done a quick walk in Virginia, walk and talk kind of thing with him, and got to know him a little bit. And as much as I want to say all the great things, like every great, president that has been through this country here in the U.S., there's always a seminal moment, and his will be defined by the pandemic.
Okay.
Nobody has ever had to deal with the stoppage, right? And in working, obviously through that period myself, understanding, how to navigate that. Now you're moving a show, trying to get a show through this, right? Controversy or not, do we have it? Do we not have it? Do we cancel? Do we move it? Do we move it around? Do we move it to another date? All the controversy that comes with that. And the last thing you want to be is Dave Labuskes from about March 2020 until that kind of 2022 or 23 when everything was finally kind of good. Yeah, you really just got to you want to get past that. Like if you can like Thanos snap it, move forward a little faster and 100%. But I think unfortunately, whatever he did that would have been considered great is always going to be overshadowed by he was the president during the time that this happened, right? And you can look through the course of history of any leader in places, sometimes their legacy is not defined by what they do, but with the environment around them. And unfortunately, that was the news story for over 3 years. And, unfortunately, it may take away from some of the good things, but the fact that somebody had the fortitude to really, to last through something like that. If it was hard on me being a home, worker, right, and dealing with not being able to get out in front of people and in front of customers, I can't imagine leading a trade show organization that is part of, their main responsibility is to bring people together. And you can't do that. I know that without a trade show myself, part of me had to readjust how I do business, because the in-person of me being in person at a trade show is much different than me trying to host a, AV happy hour online on a Zoom call. Much different. We had to rethink how we did our own meetings and gatherings. And the one group that's basically put together that kind of said, hey, we bring people together every year in 2 different locations on the planet, every year. Yeah, that's the legacy, and it's going to be kind of hard for you to tell me, Tim, that is not going to be his legacy.
I certainly think it's part of it. Absolutely. Rebecca, same kind of question. What is the legacy of Dave Labuskes?
Inclusion, 100%. So I sit on a whole bunch of the committees for AVIXA, right? I write the test questions, I do the certifications, yada, yada, yada. And one of the huge focuses that we have been doing for the last however many years I've been on this is the globalization, right? How do you standardize a test based on technology and power and standards and yada, 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 while expanding it to a global audience, right? We have conversations constantly about, we can't use this particular word because it has this very weird connotation in this other country. We can't use these specific standards because those don't exist, yada, yada. So it's an interesting concept that he is trying to make the industry so incredibly, he spent a lot of his time trying to make the industry so incredibly inclusive for everyone. And I love it. It's frustrating at times, obviously. You should hear us go back and forth about the metric imperial debate when we're writing these questions, but that's a big one for me. And he wants to make everyone feel welcome in this industry. And, I've been doing this long enough to remember when women were not particularly welcome in this industry. So, I've watched that come in. Now I'm watching people from other countries come in. Now we're talking about DEI and accessibility and stuff like that, and trying to make this industry a place where anybody can come in, find what they need, do what they need, learn, teach, grow, whatever. That's what I love about him. And we've had a few conversations about this. I find him every year at InfoComm, and he remembers me every year. Me, one of the random 50,000 people that he walks by every year. And he remembers me, and we always chat.
It would be difficult not to remember you, but go ahead.
Fair point. The tattoos, do identify me. I should not commit any crimes. But, he's made the industry something less scary for outsiders, which I love.
I like that. I like that analogy, Daniel. But Rebecca mentioned the inclusion for folks that aren't in the U.S. Obviously, AVIXA is a U.S.-based organization, but so I'll be interested to see your perspective on this. What do you think Mr. Labuskes' legacy will be for AVIXA and for the industry?
Yeah, Tim, for this one, I completely agree both to Chris and Rebecca, but I also think that the inclusion that Rebecca was saying is, of course, one of the biggest or the main legacy that I see when I think about of Labuskes, because when you go, for example, on his LinkedIn profile, you can see that very clearly with his name. I'm very fresh in this industry, to be honest. I'm working in this field for maybe a bit more than 2 years now. Yeah, I was studying and I already knew what AVIXA was doing. So for me, since I know what AVIXA is and what they are doing and everything about AV, he was the one in charge. And yeah, as you say, it was a bit scary to think, okay, sometime maybe I can be part of this. But I met AVIXA at ISE 3 years ago now, and inclusion was everything. So I was in an event for students, and you didn't need to be this pro in tech that knew everything and was in the field for already 20 years. You were already included, even if you were a student, and everything you had was your goodwill to learn and your passion about learning new things, right? So inclusion and how he accompanied the shift from events on site, because we are working in an industry where most of the events are happening or were happening in person, face to face, and as Chris was saying, being the head of this kind of corporation like AVIXA is during an era where having in on-site events were not really that easy to happen. I wouldn't want to be that person, to be honest. So like how they how they succeeded in accompanying this shift from in-person to hybrid or online events, and making everyone feel welcome into the industry, because that's something you hear many times actually when you are talking to people and ask them how did they start working in the AV. They say, hey, I was just randomly appeared here, and now we see that every time more and more people that didn't really know or didn't really have this knowledge in beforehand, they maybe go to a certification that AVIXA is holding, they go to an event of women in AV from AVIXA, they go to, these online congresses that AVIXA is holding, that you don't need to have like a big income to maybe travel to CES in Las Vegas or maybe to Infocom. You don't need to travel to ISE. You can access every event online. So that's also inclusion, right? To be able to be part of the event or of the industry, even if you don't have a big budget for traveling, but you can stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next story comes to us from Rave Pubs. In its 2026 security forecast, iPro points to edge AI and cybersecurity as defining forces shaping the future of physical system security. The report emphasizes a shift away from cloud-only analytics toward AI processing directly at the device level, which is what most people call edge computing, edge AI. This reduces latency while improving privacy and resilience all at the same time. iPro is highlighting growing areas and growing concerns in cybersecurity, as well as increases in technology when it comes to cameras and security devices, as these are already on the enterprise network. I was going to say increasingly on the enterprise network. They're on the network. That is what it is. The forecast also reflects a broader trend where physical security, AV, and IT are no longer siloed. They are working together and in tangent together. Becca, we'll start with you on this one. For for AV and IT users, how does the rise of edge AI and edge processing change expectations around design, device management, and long-term viability, long-term scalability? Okay,
I'm going to try to be concise on this because you actually asked about 42 different questions.
I did.
And I could answer them 1,000 different ways. So I've always been a fan of sort of the edge computing model, right? Because as soon as you centralize something, then you also give it a central point of failure, right? And of course, in rigging, everybody always talks about your system is only as good as your weakest link. What is your weakest link to this one centralized core where everything is controlled? So I'm a fan of it in concept, right? Now, of course, the big problem then is a lot of smaller projects can't host the kind of servers, computing, whatever infrastructure needed to house the amount of AI and the amount of computing that is coming into these projects. If every single thing that you buy now has AI in it, that means it has to be able to speak to something out in the rest of the world, or else how is it going to upgrade? How's it going to learn? It's eventually going to become dumb. It is not machine learning if it cannot learn, right? Then it's just a computer. If you take your laptop off of the internet, how much work can you actually do? Right. So that's kind of one of the big problems. Yes, you can get rid of latency and bandwidth and, all that stuff because it's not actively talking every time it is doing a function. And that is important. But the idea of centralized compute is never really going to go away. It's just sort of shifting some of the load, right? Think of it like an electric car or versus one internal combustion engine versus 4 little motors on the tires. Right? It's still kind of doing the same thing. And so there's going to be a shift, but it's not going to be total and it's not going to be really fast. And both of them have their merits. The second thing that I will say very quickly is I hate that every device that we buy now has AI in it. I hate it for a number of reasons, moral, ethical. I'm pro-union, I just do not like AI. And I think that we are going to see the AI trend fall off real fast because people are just not adopting it in the ways that people want us to adopt it. So that's going to be a big one. So I don't think we should focus as much on AI. And I'll also say that one of the big points in that article was that, especially from the cybersecurity side, right?
Yep.
There are a lot of functions that AI can do in cybersecurity. However, one of the reasons that people are shifting to AI is because of a lack of employees. How are you going to teach the machines if you're not training the people that have to train the machines? Like you're trying to fill a hole with another hole. And so I think that's going to have some interesting consequences down the road.
All right, Daniel, same kind of question. Is what does this move to almost distributed intelligence, distributed AI do when it comes to, system design, system support, whether that is full-on installation or it's, temporary systems like, concerts and pop-up venues? For
this one, Tim, I would disagree actually with Rebecca, because when you see it from a user's or end user's perspective, yes, it could be that every device that we are buying now for our daily work, but also in events or in installations, has AI. And maybe the end users, they don't have, or there's not the knowledge out there, but from Lang, we see it differently. So when there's this type of new technologies, not only for AI, but for example, if I take it to my field where I'm have a bit more of knowledge, for example, for drone shows, I think this it's AI and cybersecurity. This gets us to another level, because what we are trying to do in Lang is we teach the market, and we as suppliers have this role, right, to educate the market and educate the company that we are distributing, so that the end user knows what they are buying, or knows what they are working with, and they actually take out the best of the machines or the devices that they have. When it comes to cybersecurity, and when I think it together with the drones, for example, yeah, I think that when, as Rebecca was saying, processing the data is crucial. And yeah, when you can have this locally, and when you increase it to, for example, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 drones, where you have a lot of data that needs to be processed, and if you need to convert or transfer all this data to the cloud and back, and if you, instead of doing all this long and tedious process, you can do it everything locally in each drone, I think about humongous opportunities that arise. So I like actually that all the devices that we buy now, like I even like going to the supermarket, buying a new washing machine, and that it has AI to know that my clothes don't need the 25 minutes program that I put, but only 15. But yes, for this, you're right, Rebecca, that maybe we need to have the knowledge in the market, and to have the people also to to educate, and that's why I like also being in this AV world, because I think that we are in a very sharing and open space where you can talk about everything, and it's not like secret market where everyone is happy to share their knowledge and to share their thoughts, and it's easy to discuss and to agree or disagree with different people. I think I went a bit far from the question actually, but I hope I could reply
I appreciate
to your question.
Yeah,
Tim.
I appreciate it. Mr. Neto, have we got too much stuff, AI, when it comes to the edge and security?
Do we? Yeah, AI's been everywhere. We spent a week swimming in the AI pool in Vegas, it seemed like.
Really quick, let me explain that. I hung out with Neto this week because we were both at CES 2026 in Las Vegas. Yeah. So continue.
You're going to give a better explanation than that? Because it sounded like there was something else coming from that.
Here's the thing. So,
it was cold, dude. We were not actually physically in
I was
pool.
waiting for one of y'all to compare it to junk mail again.
well, no, so
this is what I answered.
This is the fantastic thing about this program that I have been doing for over a decade. I love the pre-show conversation that we never record and probably should at some point, but it will inevitably get me in trouble. The comment I made is that CES 2026 was AI drunk. And I mean that because Rebecca and actually Daniel both were right about everything under the sun having AI. Oh my God, that show. And I have been to that show before, and I have gotten really great content and really great insights out of there. And I had some really great meetings and great briefings of things coming down the pipeline. The show floor itself, though?
It was walking through your spam filter.
Yeah.
If you were to personify your inbox, that's what it was. You'd walk through and there'd be a tractor. There'd be AI in your teeth, literally. You want some implants with a little bit of AI in there? You can get that. Go to another one. There's a robotic hand. But of course, why would you need a hand? Well, maybe somebody like Justin Dawson can explain what he saw with a robotic hand, as far as like the weird booths with that. But then you would buy the hand because you need to build a robot. And there was do-yourself, like DIY robots versus assembly line robots versus a row of robot school kids. I did not get that. But the show, it's you filter. Oh, cool. I could see that in AV. Filter. Oh, my God. All right, that's interesting. One of the cool things I saw there, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm not going to give away all the details because it was down in Eureka Park. So there's various. This was my first time, so I am CES punch drunk, unlike Tim, who's AI drunk.
How come I'm the only one not drunk here?
You were not in Vegas. That's what happens. You go into Vegas. It's not. They're not pumping that stuff through the casinos to make you stay awake. They're pumping this stuff. So you're just like, oh, you leave there. It's you're squirrely. You become the person, the cartoon of oh my God, dog, squirrel. Like you're not. So you go into this like 50,000 different places, right? Because unlike a traditional trade show that we are used to, it's not in one hall. It's not in two halls in the same facility.
It's not in one place.
It's in Vegas. When I mean that, my expenses from this show is heavy on the Lyft and Ubers. All over the place, because you can be in one place at Mandalay Bay and then have to go all the way back to the LVC, to the West Hall, get in the Tesla tunnel, go to South Hall, and then go to the Venetian because you want to go to Eureka Park, which is in the basement. And check the second floor. It's that massive.
And then you have suites, like you've got 10 floors of suites where you're going up and seeing this behind the scenes stuff that's coming out in 3 months.
Yep. So for the folks in AV who are sitting here wondering, where do we go with this as AV people? It's a place to go take a look. And the best I could come across is that what we go to at Infocom and ISE is very much the now.
Yeah.
The most that we get from manufacturers is going to be, here is what's coming out this year in 6 months. Nobody's there revealing the car of the future, the video display of the future. Those are that's too close to the heart, or too close. They play too close to the chest. Yeah. Nobody's there giving you any idea, because God knows everybody's in competition with one another when it comes to, hey, my display is bigger than yours. Mine's got more pixels. Mine's faster, right? My AV over IP is faster than yours. Whatever you pick something, everybody's got a secret and their own secret sauce, and they're not displaying that. Now, you go to CES, and it's a flex to show that I can do it today, and you can come at me, and you're still 5 years behind. That's what it seems like. So to understand that something is possible in technology is what I've gotten out of that show. Because I'm looking at that and going, that's some crazy idea that somebody, nobody's going to come up with that. And there is something cool. I found a pool drone.
It's funny that you say that just to, I hate the trends, right? And we've seen the trends at these trade shows forever. A long time ago, it was, spatial audio. I mean, and that's still kind of a thing, but everybody wanted to do spatial effects, immersive, whatever. And then it was...
Remember when IoT was everywhere?
Exactly. And then it was 8K
Metaverse.
video. And it's like you said, knowing that these things are possible and knowing how to do them and knowing that they're there is more important than everything having them. And I'm really kind of hoping that AI will go that way, right? We'll use it for what it's needed for, but you don't have to use it for everything. Because again, every single person on this planet can put an 8K TV in their house, but how much content is there?
The famous Jurassic Park line, right? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
We never stop to ask
Didn't
ourselves
go well for those guys.
if we should.
Now, where are we going with this? Because listen, paired up with AI on one corner and robots on the other, I'm thinking those two need a hallway in between, because if not, we're going to get amalgamation and boom, there's Terminator.
I was about to say, this is how Skynet happened.
Be careful what you wish for.
It's only the first show of the year, and I've already got AI and Skynet.
Yeah, well, the only thing we didn't see there was the better batteries. And that's the only thing keeping those guys from going any longer than an hour, which is great, because if that robot thing is going to happen, that thing's going to go.
You went to the wrong hall because I saw the better batteries.
I know, because there was a battery thing. It is pretty wild. So we see separate halls. We don't let them two talk.
No. Don't let the battery people know about the robot people. No.
And the AI people.
We'll see what happens.
Those three can't be in the same place.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Rebecca Sullins, how do people connect with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Rebecca Sullins, Sullins. I am the only one in the world, thank God. Or you can find me at my company, rebecca.sullins@ampthink.com.
All right, very good. Mr. Netto, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or Midwich?
Midwich, you can find us at midwich.us. Now, we are the U.S. side. Midwich, obviously, is the global distribution out of the U.K. and in various places, including Spain and Portugal. You name it, we're probably in there or somewhere near that area distributing product. You can find me on Twitter, Chris_Netto on the Twitter, if you still use that. But the best place to find me is Christopher Netto, CTS, on LinkedIn. And the reason why, Rebecca, is because there is a Chris Netto, and he's an Australian guitarist, and I do not like being in
Oh, I know. I found him. I Googled you.
Oh, okay.
And
well, thank you.
Mr. Netto, if somebody is going to ISE and they want to connect with you, where would they do that?
Yes. I know that Rebecca knows where my booth is, but if you would like to know where the booth is officially, it is 3P700. You can find us there. I'll be there. So if you would like, come by, check it out. Tim will probably be recording inside the AV On Air studio that we have.
10 to noon on Friday.
There you go. You'll see an AV Week being recorded there, because that's what we do. We bring a studio and all of our gear from our Holden company. The name of the company is Holden, one of the Midwich companies, and they provide all the stuff and staff that particular studio. Really nice setup. If you guys want to check it out and see what it looks like, stop by, say hi. I'll be there.
Daniel, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. How do people connect with you? How do people connect with Lang? And where will they find you at ISE?
Thank you, Tim. So the easiest way to find me is through LinkedIn. Luckily, I don't share my name with any famous guitarist. So if you find me on LinkedIn by Daniel Centelles, working as international sales manager at Lang AG, German company with headquarters near Cologne, but also present in Spain, Switzerland, UK, also Middle East, Netherlands, and hopefully closer to you anytime soon.
No, I want to work in the Switzerland office.
Of course. We are always welcome, and our doors are always open. At ISE, we will be in the booth 3H500. We are in one of the main halls, and every day after 4 p.m. we have beer, German beer for everyone on our booth. So if our technology doesn't make it to convince you to come visit us, say hi, please come by 4 p.m. and then we can discuss about technology with something to drink.
There you go. For me, for Tim Albright, don't follow me anywhere. I'm with Chris. If you want to follow along with things that I write that have nothing to do with technology, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Tim Albright. If you Google me, I don't know if the guy goes by Tim or Timothy, but I did discover there is a jazz trombonist by the name of Tim Albright or Timothy Albright. So that is not me.
It is Tim Albright. I just Googled you too.
Yeah, there you go. That is not me either. I do not play trombone. But go by the website if you would, please, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others, as well as a brand new AVNation special with Cisco's very own Snorri Kiesbu. He gave us about 30 minutes of his time talking about Cisco, about UC, about collaboration. We are also hitting the road. We three of us talked about ISE. We will also be covering ISE in Barcelona the 3rd through the 6th of February. And I'm also doing the keynote at Almo's E4. First one is in Anaheim, February 10th, and then DC, March 17th. There's 2 more dates. We'll talk about those as we get closer. February 10th and March 17th. You can register for those at e4experience.com. But all of that you can find at avnation.tv. That is avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hello, this is Steve Greenblatt, host of AVNation's A State of Control podcast. Each month, Rich Fregosa and I explore trending topics related to control programming and automation in the audiovisual industry. We speak with a variety of AV professionals who share their perspectives, knowledge, and experiences. Please join us for this monthly conversation. Check out A State of Control on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.